All right, this week on the grid, we're talking landscape photography with award-winning landscape photographer Ramtin Kazemi, and it all starts in a few seconds.
The grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Well, hey everybody! As you can see, Scott's out gallivanting. He's going around the world. He's over in Italy right now on a workshop. We're getting great stuff. I've seen some pictures. Him and Mimo are out there with a group of people, shooting on the Grand Canal, doing all that great stuff out there. Probably having some great Italian food as well. So they're out there. But this week, since the cat's away, the mice will play. We're going to talk landscape photography because, that's what I'm big into. I love landscape photography. I love night photography, night landscape photography. But one of the guys that I love to shoot with is coming in and joining us on I believe, a new way of satelliting in. So I hope that this new way works out. But Rami, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey,
hello,
he's
everyone.
there. And actually, I believe you're coming to us via satellite, correct?
Yes, correct. This
Yes.
is Starlink now, and
There
I'm
you
glad
go.
that I switched over because my only way of communicating is satellite, and Starlink is just on the next level. So I'm hoping that it's looking all right.
Oh yeah, it's looking great, and that's what I love it. I love it when I'm traveling as well. I know we love to get lost and get out there to those interesting places, and that's what we want to talk about today is landscape photography. So we're going to be taking all your questions today on landscape photography, anything to do with landscape photography, from out shooting to the post-processing, all the things landscape photography, because that's what both of us we love to do. There's also just the process of adventuring, and that's one of the things we'll get to right up front before we get to some questions. But before we get there, we do have to do some housekeeping items. We've got some prizes to give away on the show today. We love giving away prizes here on the grid, and we're going to be giving away a bunch today. So starting out, the first thing we're giving away is the Platypod grip. This is a great attachment for your phone. So to put your phone onto a tripod or onto a Platypod, or even onto that little Platypod basic over there, which you can get a little disc that fits on the bottom. That little basic is great. So between this, the basic, and the other thing that's great about this is it has an Arca Swiss plate on the bottom, or adapter on the, or it's compatible with an Arca Swiss mount. So on the bottom, you can just mount it right into your tripod. So you don't need that extra attachment to it. So I love it. And for the price, you cannot beat it, right? It's the best phone grip, universal. It fits about any phone that I've ever tried to put on it. So Android, iPhone, whatever. And then we're going to be giving away a couple of Scott's books. So we've got Scott's Lightroom Classic book, Adobe Photoshop Lightroom Classic book, because that's the actual name of Lightroom, is Adobe Photoshop Lightroom. And then Classic, if you're using Classic, should be called Pro, but we're kind of over that at this point. And the Adobe Photoshop Lightroom CC, because Adobe loves to throw that Photoshop in there. But that's what we're using. We're using Lightroom, but we're really just using a photographer's version of Photoshop is what it is. And that's why that Photoshop is in that name. Then we're going to be giving away a copy of Scott's Crush the Composition book. This is going over great. People love this book. It's kind of like that. It's a coffee table book, but also an educational book at the same time. So it kind of fits both sides of the game. And what's great about it too is it's about composition, but it's not those just rules of composition. It's all the other things that you need to know about composition. And that's one of the things too that I know Scott's big on, I'm big on, Rammy's huge on. I've learned a lot from Rami on composition. So if you got any questions about that, definitely ask in the comments. We're again answering all your questions. And then we have On One No Noise 2024. So we're giving away a copy of On One No Noise 2024. This is an amazing plugin if you're wanting to just clean up your images from high ISO. Sometimes you have to push your camera up to those higher ISOs, and being able to remove that noise with AI tools, amazing. And this AI noise reduction really brings that sharpening back that you lose when you shoot at those high ISOs. So great plugin for removing the noise. Then we're going to be giving a V-Flat from V-Flat World. Now, this one's for U.S. shipping only. So you just got to have a U.S. shipping address if you want to win this one. So somebody's going to win a V-Flat over there, but everybody can win over at V-Flat World. If you go to vflatworld.com, use the code KELBY10 at checkout, you're getting 10% off. So that's what we have for prizes. And how do you win? All you got to do is leave us a comment no matter where you're watching. You're watching on Facebook, YouTube, on our website, anywhere you're watching the live stream. Just go in there in the chat, tell us what you want to win, make a comment, and then you want a better chance of winning. Ask questions, tell us where you're from. More you comment, the more you're entered to win. So, and then at the end of the show, we'll pick the winners and we'll announce it live here on the air. And then a couple other things that we got to talk about. So big thing that's coming up next month. So we're less than a month away. The Lightroom conference, something that Rammy's teaching on as well. So Rammy's going to be at the Lightroom conference. I'll be at the Lightroom conference. Scott will be at the Lightroom conference. A bunch of other people will be at the Lightroom conference. If you go scroll down, you'll see all the instructors that are going to be there. And actually, Rami, what are you teaching at the Lightroom conference?
Yeah, as always, I'm focusing on landscape. I have 2 sessions. One is going to be just introduction to all the important tools that you need to know when it comes to landscape photography editing for Lightroom. So I'll go over all the tools that are very important, and then after that, I'll actually be doing on the second session. I'll actually be doing editing. So you're going to watch me edit, and then you can follow along. So that's going to be fun. A lot of fun.
Cool. Well, I'm hoping that I noticed we're experimenting with something new, and it kind of like stuttered for a second there with you. So I'm hoping that we still have you. I can hear your audio. So yeah, we should be good. No, we should be good. It's again, experimentation is, one of the keys in life is to experiment and try new things. And unfortunately, we have to try new things because we're forced in by certain companies who are no longer supporting old things, so we have to try new things, but that's how life goes, and we've got to experiment and we've got to try new things. And I know that's a big thing with both of us, kind of segueing into really kind of landscape photography, the topic. I think we're trying new things. We're pushing the envelope with landscape photography, but I know that both of us have been talking about how it seems like it's going a little too far. It seems like with this AI stuff, with this, that I have so many friends, and we were just talking about this, Rami and I were just talking about this the other day. I have friends that'll contact me and say, wow, look at this amazing photo. We should go here. And I have to break the news to them that photo does not exist. Like the photo is based on a location, but then what they've done is they've used AI to make the place that is a real place look even better than it is. But that's the reality is when you showed up at that location and you saw that monument or that butte or that rock formation, you'd be like, that's not the picture I remember. That's not the picture from Instagram. That's not the picture from Facebook. And it's happened to me a lot this year, where there's been multiple people, and I don't blame them. I mean, again, if you read the comments, it's usually mixed. It's usually people are going, awesome, I want to go here, this is amazing. And then the other ones are going, this is AI, this is fake. And so what's your thoughts on this, Rami? Because I know that we've both been kind of into this whole, like, I think AI has a space. I think AI is cool. I like experimenting with it. But I also think where my camp is it's so many people are not disclosing it now. They're trying to pull one over on people and say that they're going to a place, and it's really like it's based on a place, but it's not really a place, and it won't ever exist because it's AI. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I even myself, at the beginning, I even did a class on KelbyOne with AI. I have no issues with AI itself, using it as a tool, or even creating images that are from, completely just digital images that don't even exist. The only issue I have is that people are now posting them as real locations. Now, what you see, as you said about the comments, is that it's a mix of some people realizing that it is completely fake and AI, but then a lot of people are seeing these images and saying, you know what, maybe I want to go there. And you are now sending people to locations trying to look for things that are not even there. And
Yep.
that to me is a huge problem, and we're getting to a point where it's just like, a lot of people cannot tell the difference. And if you show me an AI image, because I've seen it, because I know pixels, and I can tell, but a lot of people cannot. They can't really tell what is going on, what is real and what is not. So for me, honestly, as a landscape photographer, it's starting to become a problem that needs to be addressed. I have no issues if you just want to say that, listen, I made this using AI. No problem. Share that. I have no issues. But yeah,
Yeah.
it just becomes an issue.
Yeah, and I'm with you, and that's where you get and I know that's where usually, I mean, we're being a little, we talked before the show, we're being a little meaner with this because we get pretty heated with this. We might use some expletives when we're talking about this. We're gonna keep it G-rated here on the show today, but it really does. We get very like it's starting to get kind of offensive. It's getting to that
Yes.
point anymore where it's getting kind of offensive. But then then we were talking and kind of stepping back from that. And okay, so what really is landscape photography about? Just the image? Because I don't think anymore. I don't shoot landscape photography for just the image, or I don't create landscape photos just for the image. I love the journey. I love the process. I love the adventure of it, just as much as I love the image that I create. And I think that's where we're getting to the point where we're kind of losing the sense of the adventure of it, or the just being out in nature and connecting with nature and doing that. Now that's where I think that I will never lose that, because that really what fuels me. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I actually great point that you bring up, because I wanted to actually talk about this, because I was watching actually a podcast last night about this, and they were talking about how, I know we're talking about landscape photography, but this whole photography industry is being really impacted by AI, especially like specifically they were talking about like portrait photography and fashion photography, and some, I'm not going to name any, but some really big brand names out there are now using AI to recreate models, and therefore that means that there's no more photographers, there's no more models. It's really impacting a lot of people. Now, personally, for me, I'm lucky enough that my business comes mostly from being out in the field. And I know that people are going to always want to go out to workshops and experience real life. So thankfully, AI is not affecting me personally, but I can imagine that it is affecting a lot of photographers out there. And it can definitely become a problem and something to talk about for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's what it comes down to. Is I think it's affecting, like I was saying, it's affecting in landscape photography. I think people's mindset, where they're seeing something, and they're also then seeing like AI is creating almost because you could make AI create like the perfect landscape. Like we look
Oh
for
yeah.
certain cloud formations, certain lighting, certain peaks, and how they meld with the topography. And you can really kind of talk AI through, hey, make the perfect
Yeah.
photo that's in my head, and it will do it really good. I mean, that's like you said, you have a class on it on KelbyOne, and you can make it look really good. And I think there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're saying up front, hey, I did this. And I think it also helps us as landscape photographers to do those exercises, because, and I've used it in other types of photography, aviation, rocket, to pre-visualize shots that I want, or pre-visualize lighting that I want. AI can be used as a tool to do that. I did that recently with light painting on planes. And I was talking to AI about, like, I want to do this. Could you show me some examples? Show me some diagrams. And it does a very good job about helping me to pre-visualize stuff. But it's just, I think it's the thing that I get more out of is then the results of doing it. And like I said, going out in the field and the adventure of being able to, I just think it's more rewarding to be able to create amazing things. For example, I know you and I, you speak of workshops. We have a workshop coming up at the end of the year. So we've got one in the Badlands, right? And why the Badlands? Because I know you and I know you love otherworldly settings as well as I love otherworldly settings, and that's what I love about the Badlands is that it kind of like you have this otherworldly kind of environment. Yeah, and you can see over there now. What's great about this one, you know, if you if you go over to my screen, you can see like here on my screen, you've got like this is examples from previous ones, you know, that we've done.
Yeah.
And you look at these images, like all these are real places and real environments, right? Like everything here that you're seeing is like real. That's what I love about this is like you can actually go there and experience this stuff. And while it looks otherworldly and it looks insane, like this is reality. Now, there is the editing side of it. There is the post-processing. There is the composition. There is the lighting. There are all those environments that come into it. There's even things like blending exposures that I know we're doing. But to be able to actually experience this stuff in real life, like I'd much rather do that. Like I remember being with you and like this stuff, like, you know, that we had these magical thunderstorms and lightning storms and skies. And it's just all that stuff that you can experience in, again, real life. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what I love about the Badlands is, you know, it is just something that, first of all, it's not shot to death. It's not one of those locations that, for some reason, landscape photographers don't tend to go. It's not like your typical Iceland location where everyone wants to go, because in Iceland, what happens is you go there and you can, I almost want to say you can't take a bad shot. You will just, you know, lift your camera up anywhere, you can take a good shot. Now, with Badlands, is something that you just got to look for that sort of foreground a little bit. And once you find that foreground, the landscape is so great. And I love to do that because I think we're gonna have as you can see on the pictures that you were looking at, I think we're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be an absolutely amazing workshop. I really love my time like in the Badlands. I personally I wasn't expecting that. I was really shocked of what I was seeing as far as landscape goes, and as far as like I didn't know there would be those jagged mountains and things like that in South Dakota, and I was really impressed by it. So I love it.
Yeah, I mean that was one of those things when I first told Rami about it years ago, and you know I think you were kind of like I don't know, I'm not like no, I know you, I know your eye, I know how it works. Like you just have to put Rami in interesting places and he just finds the composition and he just like you're kind of like drawn to it. Now that's where there's a talent there, but there's also the skills that are involved as landscape photographers, like what we have to do to make these photos. And part of the skills involved is getting out there and adventuring and traveling. And that's what I love about this, but that's where it's easier when we're able to pre-scout and pre-visualize. And you know, I know both of us use Google Earth like crazy, Google Maps like crazy to do all that pre-visualization, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I remember I've seen, but then again, there's that factor where no matter what you see, that was one of those locations where I saw the pictures. I scouted the area before, but when I went there, I was surprised in a positive way, where I was like, "Oh my God, it's so much better than I thought it was gonna be." You know?
Yeah.
So
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Of, I think there's certain locations that have been shot to death, and what happens is then it's hard to find like new compositions. The other thing that I love about certain areas, especially Badlands, that's why I have an obsession with them, is that one, they're not shot to depth. And two, most of the Badlands, especially in the United States, are open hike, where you can go about anywhere. A lot of the national parks you go to, you're very restricted to hiking paths or hiking locations. You have to stick to certain areas. So it's really nice to be able to, like you saw those shots that we got there, like a lot of times we're very close to a hiking location, but you're kind of like
Yes.
maybe 50 yards off the trail where you couldn't be in other national parks, but you can be in a place like that where you can open hike and you can experience different things. So really love those areas. So that's what, we got that workshop coming up in September. It's all, what I love about it is designed, what Rami and I were talking about is it's designed for understanding light from when it gets good all the way through the night, so it's that sunset all the way to night when we love to shoot, because the middle of the day is when we're in the classroom and we're learning and we're doing all that other stuff. And then we're focused on the shooting when it's the optimal times to shoot.
Yeah.
But that's what we know as landscape photographers. That's where the optimal time is. Well, hey, we have to take a break. Before we go to break, we got a bunch of people joining us all over the world. We've got Noreen saying hi from Ireland, all the way from Ireland. Belinda saying hi from Tulsa. Jeff saying hi all the way from Kuna, Idaho. And then Anders saying hi from Sweden. Annette saying hi from Florida. Jamie saying hi from Las Vegas. Margaret saying hi from Bowling Green. Bobby saying hi from Maryland. Ken saying hi from Houston. Raymond saying hi from South Dakota. Larry saying hi from Dallas. Robert saying hi from Salt Lake City. Tim saying hi from Kissimmee. Raul saying hi from Baltimore. Susan all the way from Texas, and Jared saying hi from the UK. And then we got some questions starting to come in. If you got any questions for us, we'd love to answer. We'll be right back in a few minutes, and then we'll start. What's that? Oh, and Scott will be with us. That's awesome. So we got Scott tuning in just in a second. So we'll see Scott all the way from Venice, Italy.
What if one Lightroom tip could completely change the way you edit? Unlock the full power of Lightroom May 13th to 14th at the KelbyOne Lightroom Conference. 2 days of expert photography training that'll help you edit faster, smarter, and with more creativity than ever before. Learn the latest features and AI tools, master portrait retouching, landscape editing, mobile workflows, and batch automation. We cover it all. Stop guessing, start editing like a pro. And with a 1-year replay, you can learn on your schedule. The KelbyOne Lightroom Conference. Edit with confidence and bring your vision to life.
This is a shakedown.
Hey everyone, I am professional photographer Ian Plant, and in this course, I am going to be talking about removing distractions. And there's plenty of distractions in our everyday lives that keep our focus away from our passion for photography. And you definitely want to get rid of those distractions, but that's not really the focus of what I'm going to be talking about in this course. I'm going to be talking about removing distractions from your photos. And these are the things that pull the viewer's attention away from what's important in your compositions. So in this class, I am going to offer some practical tips for spotting potential distractions and eliminating them before you take the photo. But the main focus of this course is going to be on mitigating or eliminating any distractions that show up in your photos after the fact. I'm going to show you how to use the digital darkroom to zap those pesky distractions out of existence and to let the clarity of your creative vision shine through. Make sure to check out my new course on removing distractions over at KelbyOne.com.
Have you been using the AI stuff in Lightroom and Photoshop? If you haven't, it's unbelievable. It's amazing. It's incredible. but it scares the living heck out of me, and I'm not sure I can use it and sleep at night, which is why I did a brand new class for you. Here's what we've done. I'm going to take you through Lightroom. I'm going to take you through Photoshop. I'm going to show you how to use it all, and then I'm going to show you how to use it where you don't feel dirty. I'm telling you guys, there is magic here. There is productivity gains that you can get that are just gonna blow your mind. It's incredible. I'm gonna show you how to do the things that you could have done yourself in Photoshop that might have taken hours or weeks, or maybe skill you don't quite have yet, and have it done in 12 seconds. Catch my brand new class on how to use Lightroom and Photoshop's AI features and still sleep at night. It's only here at KelbyOne.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
All right, we're back, and we've got Scott tuning in live via cellular satellite. So we'll see. Yep, there he is. Hey, Scott.
Hey, here we are. Yeah. Hey, Eric. We are at the Rialto Bridge.
Ooh,
here.
nice.
Oh, there's Kelly Jones, KelbyOne instructor. There's Sherry. And yeah, we're right here at the Rialto Bridge. We're doing a sunset shoot. It's about sunset-ish. I do not know how to make the camera turn around the other way. So I'm just going to put it over my shoulder here.
Oh, yeah, that works.
There you go. You can kind of see where we're at, what we're doing.
There's the bridge.
Some people dining over here, just eating, and some of our groups on the other side of the river, and some of us are, not the river, the
Canal, Grand
Canal.
Yeah.
Thank
And you got
Karen.
some clouds up
Grand
there in the
Canal.
sky. I like
Some
it.
of our crew is here, hanging out back there.
Yeah.
And we've been having a blast. We're having just a tremendous time doing lots of. I'm working them to death, Eric. You know how we say we put the work in the
workshop.
I'm working these people to death, and there's no way to get around this town but walking. We've walked, like, you're looking at your thing at the end of the day, and it's like 20,000 steps. But we're having a lot of fun. And tomorrow we're taking 2 bands and heading up to the Dolomites. And we meet a great guide up there. It's going to help us for the day. And we're just having so much fun, and everybody's getting killer pictures, man. These people are shooting their lights out. So
Nice.
anyway, thanks for letting us drop in and say hi to Rami for me.
I will. That's awesome.
Everybody knows
Well, thanks
Rami
for joining
here.
us.
Everyone's seen Rami's courses here. So his name's already come up a number of times. But thanks to you guys, and say hi to Christina and the crew and Jason and everybody and Wani. And we'll see you guys next time.
All right. See ya. Have fun. All right.
Thanks,
Well, that
man.
was awesome. Hey, look it. We've definitely thrown ourselves off the deep end here. So we switched platforms. We tested out new platforms. We have Rammy tuning in via satellite. Then we got Scott, jumping in via his cellular connection. So far, so good. I'll say knock on some wood here somewhere. And, it's working out. So, which Rammy, are you still there?
I'm here.
Yeah, look at
You
that.
hear me?
Look at that. It's still working. I'm so surprised. I'm so surprised. Hey, I told him this is the first time like my in-ears worked right, and unfortunately, fortunately, or unfortunately, we said the other product we used was made by Microsoft, and get off Microsoft, your life gets better. I don't know. Anyways, hey, Rami, I got some questions for you. And we're going to be answering all your landscape questions here today. Allison's asking, she's got a question for Rami. And Allison's asking you, how do you plan to get an awesome long exposure sky in your landscapes? So how do you plan that?
So honestly, it all depends on how you're going to be picky with your sky. So I like when I shoot the sky for long exposure, I like to, first of all, you're going to need clouds, absolutely, and you're going to, and what you want is if you have the clouds coming towards you and you get that sort of like leading lines created from that would be the best, but you cannot plan that, right? So sometimes you'd be shooting a mountain and then the clouds would be literally going across like that, and that usually works against you when it comes to composition. So it's really hard to plan it. It's the best practice for long exposure is just to get out there as much as you can and shoot as much as you can and try different angles, try different subjects. Sometimes if it's not working with your scene, turn around. A lot of the times I see people shoot something, and for example, I have one of the one of my favorite shots that I've ever taken in my career. That was taken literally, everyone was shooting a mountain, but then my shot was just literally directly across, and I just took that with hand holding it, and it turned out to be the best shot of that entire morning because everyone was hoping for something happening here, but there was gorgeous light happening over there, right? So best thing for long exposure is really just making sure that you try different angles and different compositions and pay attention to the clouds movement.
Yeah, the cloud direction, and that's what I would say too, the cloud direction. If you can get clouds coming towards you or clouds going away from you at that camera position, because then they streak and kind of meld into, especially like your work, you do a lot of stuff with mountains and you've got a peak. And if those clouds are going over the peak or going behind the peak in that direction, they work with you. Like you said, if it's kind of side to side, it doesn't work as well. That doesn't mean you can't shoot them. And the other thing, sometimes that's where, sky replacements are not a bad thing. And sometimes if you see clouds that that are going in the right direction, coming towards you, going away from you, those are the times to take those sky replacements so you can put them into that shot when you have no sky, or you have marginal skies, or you have sideways skies. Those are the times to do
as
that.
long as your cloud, when you're shooting your clouds for a replacement, just make sure that wherever the light direction is coming from, sure that your shot that you're replacing the cloud with is also coming from that direction. As long as you pay attention to that, there's no issue with sky replacement.
Yes, and that's the key with sky replacement. What's the key with photography? Understand light. So that's the other thing. And that's where AI is actually really good at that, and that's why AI is fooling people a lot of times, is because most of the times when we can pick out right away that's a sky replacement, it's because the light is coming from the wrong direction. Or with me, it's usually the light is coming from the wrong direction, or the scale of the clouds does not match the focal length of the foreground. If you got a 100 millimeter shot and I'm seeing 15 millimeter skies, it's like immediately your mind just goes, there's something wrong here. That's all, is just kind of looking into it. And then also making sure with the long exposures that you're doing different levels of long exposure. Sometimes you're going to want them really streaked out. It's going to take a few minutes, mattering on how fast the clouds are moving. But then sometimes you want shorter long exposures. You don't want as much streakiness to them. So varying that as well. So, all right. Sure. Marguerite is asking a question here. Do you use a polarizing filter for your landscape shots?
Absolutely not. I see no reason in doing that anymore in 2025 anyways.
Yeah, me too. Don't use it. Haven't used it. I mean, the only case that one could make for it, in my opinion, would be if you wanted to see through water. You wanted to see through something, through a window, through water. And that's where a polarizing filter is good, in that it could take out the reflection of the water or the reflection of the glass. But any other time, I don't see any reason.
Absolutely. Yeah, and also another time that it would be good, like let's say you're in a forest and you're shooting a waterfall with rocks that are wet. Sometimes getting off the reflection off of those rocks so you can see the details.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I would personally use the polarizer for. Definitely not for the sky. It doesn't really turn out well. You have tools in Lightroom that can fix that. But when it comes to getting reflection off of things, for sure, that can be a useful thing to keep in your bag. But I personally, I have one, but I rarely use it.
Yeah, me too. It's like it's in the bag. And again, the only time I'm going to bring it out is like that very specific use case, like exactly what you're talking about. It's to remove reflections, because removing the reflection will add something to the photo. That's the only reason. Yeah. I mean, the one that I'm going to use the most is going to be my ND filter. But then really honestly, when I shoot anymore, I mean, if you're shooting at twilight or you're shooting after the sun sets, I don't really need an ND filter. The light's already really nice anyways. So, all right. Jerry's asking, I'm interested in knowing the best focal point to use for landscape photography. So maybe
Ooh.
where to focus, where the focal point should be in your landscape photography. Best focal point.
Best, I don't think there's an answer to best focal point, but you typically want to make sure that your entire shot is in focus. So typically most of the time you're stepping back a little bit, at least a few feet. And then when you focus in mid ground, everything should be in focus if you are at, let's just say, f11 or f16, right?
Yep.
But then that depends. The moment you bring your camera in close to something, like just say I'm getting some foreground elements like flowers or whatnot. If I have that and I'm bringing my lens close to that, now what happens is that if I focus on that flower to get that in focus, then my background is not in focus. So your job is really to just pay attention to the scene, see wherever you are, make sure that when you take a shot, your everything is in focus. Make sure your mountain is in focus in the background. Make sure your clouds are in focus. So you always review that shot. That's the best way. If you don't know, always review your shot and see what's out of focus so that you can possibly use a tripod and just focus stack that if you had to. But it's one of those things that cannot be said, okay, this is the best way to, like you have to focus at this area of the shot because every shot's different.
Yeah, it's kind of like this shot that I'm bringing up here, where you've got the flowers in the foreground, the mountains in the background, and then the clouds.
Yes.
Now, was that something you focus stacked?
That is something that I did focus stack because I was really close up to those flowers.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to use at least 2 shots for that because I was literally on top of those flowers. So that is definitely focus stack. One, typically with ultra wide landscape photography, you are going to end up to at least use 2 shots, especially when you go close to your elements. So basically, it becomes macro photography literally because I am sometimes literally 2 or 3 inches away from those flowers, and that means that I'm at minimum focus distance, right? So even if you're at f16, you're still not gonna have your mountain sharp. You're not gonna have anything else sharp. So typically, yes, if you're trying to get creative with your landscape photography and try to use our foreground elements and go close to them, focus stacking is going to become your friend, and you're gonna do it a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's the key there is, and that's why I wanted to ask it. And I knew that shot because I knew that I was kind of setting you up there. Sorry, because I knew that about that shot. But that's where it is. It's like a lot of times we're really close to that foreground element. Like that's what Rami was doing there is he's bringing those flowers. They're not that big in the sense of how big it is in that wide angle landscape. But by doing that, he's creating a compositional element that leads you through the scene, and also that color in the scene and all that stuff that it does. But to do that, that's where we have to start focus stacking if we want everything to be in focus. And that's kind of the thing with landscape photography is we want our landscape to be in focus. Now, a lot of times to answer to your question, if you're not having something close to your frame, like very close, like this style, even though this style I think is what really you want to get really good at composition and landscape photography, you want to use those foreground elements to your advantage. But if you don't have a lot of that foreground, you have that distance, like Ramy's saying, being at f11 and focusing, basically where your subject is in your frame or third into your frame, kind of the rule that everybody has, most of your stuff's going to be in focus. You're not going to have to worry. It's only when you get very close to foreground elements that you're really going to have to worry about this. So, but that's where we have, if you don't understand focus stacking, I know Rami has classes on that at KelbyOne, where you can go and you can learn all about, how to take that into Photoshop and kind of focus stack. So maybe explaining that real quick, just so people know, like how, I know obviously they're going to have to watch your class to go through that, but just the basic premise. So you're taking 2 exposures, and then what are you doing to those 2 exposures to stack them?
Yeah, so it's a fairly simple process these days. It depends, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, depending on how close you get. The closer you get to your elements, the more shots you have to take. So let's just say there's 3 shots. You take your 3 shots, and then you're going to add all of those shots. You take them into Photoshop, you auto align them, and it's all automatic. It's just going to auto align them, and it's going to put them together for you. And it's a fairly simple process. Photoshop used to be struggling at that when I did those classes, but now it has been doing a lot better when it comes to focus stacking. So everything's automatic in Photoshop.
That's what's so great about it. You know, between the focus stacking, sky replacement, all these techniques, they're so much easier nowadays. Photoshop is making it so easy to do those things.
Yes.
All right. Well, we have to take another break, but when we get back, we got more questions here. Feel free to answer or ask your questions in the comments. We're putting it up on the screen, and we'll just get through as many as we can today. So keep on asking away. We'll see you back here in just a few minutes.
Hello, I'm Nikon Ambassador Hilmar Smith, and I'm here at the KelbyOne Studios to teach you the art of creating with what you have. Today we'll be using 3 simple props. A chair, we have flowers, and we have things made of glass that you can find all over your house to push that creativity and create amazing pictures. Come and join me at KelbyOne.
Hey everybody, Kirk Nelson here from Pixel Pro Photography. I'm back down here at KelbyOne Studios, and I've got a fantastic course for you this time. We are talking all about developing brand new backgrounds for your images. If you've ever had an image that you've taken that you discarded because that background wasn't what you wanted, bring it back. It is not dead. I'm telling you, you can resurrect those images because now we can take backgrounds and turn them into something special. We are going to go through so many different new features and functions within Photoshop. We'll use automated distraction removal. We'll use sky replacement. We'll use the generative fill plus the generative workspace to create all new backgrounds. We'll even create a do-it-yourself synthetic background using a bunch of different filters. We will take an image that's shot in a dusty old gymnasium and turn it into something worthy of an athlete's poster. You're not going to want to miss this one. Come check out my latest class at KelbyOne.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
All right, we're back. We're talking landscape photography, and we're answering all your questions that you have. We're here with Rami, and Rami's still joining us via satellite. And Philip has a question for us, Rami, asking, what do you think of things like Sony implementing digital certifications in their camera? Even some older cameras have this available through software updates. So have you seen this or heard about this?
What do you mean by digital certification?
So basically what it's doing is in the metadata, or they have a thing where they're basically embedding in there that this was actually taken with a camera. You know, Adobe's doing the same thing where they're also doing that, where they're embedding in that if AI was used to generate the image, they're embedding it in the metadata as well. So I think both sides of it. There's the photography side where certain manufacturers are saying, okay, we're going to actually tell you this is a real file. And then Adobe's going at the same time, I'm going to tell you that this is a fake file. And I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've seen that recently. In some photography contests, actually, they require you to make sure that the metadata is written in the file, so that that's how they know it's not AI.
Right.
I mean, how valid it is and how much people can mess with that, I don't know. But as far as I know, it is definitely a good tool to use. So, but you have to be careful, because when you edit your files, you have to make sure that that metadata, through going from Photoshop, or sorry, Lightroom to Photoshop or whatever else you use, you got to make sure that that metadata carries over.
Yeah, transfers.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you just open the file and then save that as a different file. It's not going to write it down. You just got to make sure that it transfers over. But yeah, absolutely, it's one of those things that's being used today to make sure that your file is legit, not AI.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see more and more of this as we go on. I mean, there's definitely it's again, we knew it was coming. We know these things are going to everything that be good for good, or everything that be used for good can be used for evil too, and that's what I'm seeing a lot of. It's just, and again, like we said in the beginning, I think it's totally fine. I love that people are using it when they're disclosing it and they're telling people. It's when they're not telling people. And James has a question along those lines. Is there an example, a pic, to show how we can tell if an image is AI? It's a hard one. It's a hard one because
it's hard.
You can see, like, for example, I'll show you one the other day that I just got from somebody who was telling me, we got to go to this place. And I said, well, I've actually been to that place. So here, look at my screen and you'll actually see. So this is Mushroom Rock in Arizona. That is not Mushroom Rock in Arizona. If that existed, Rami and I would be on a plane tomorrow to Mushroom Rock, Arizona. There's another Mushroom Rock post. And here's another Mushroom Rock post. And then there's another Mushroom Rock post. And actually, I found one down here. That's Mushroom Rock. This is AI. So this is where people show up. This is what they're expecting to see because of AI. That's the problem we're having here, right? And that's what it is. It's like people are seeing this and going, yeah, I would want to go there. Like, why would I? Like, that's amazing. Like, that's like a perfect landscape. Like, that's, like, who wouldn't want to go there, right? But it's because of AI, and because you can take something that it could even, AI's even looking at images of mushroom rock formations or and basically that's what it is. Out in the Southwest, we have a lot of those rock formations where they've eroded on the bottom. There's still a rock on the top. In fact, you find a lot of these near the Vermilion Cliffs. If you go to the Vermilion Cliffs and off the side of there's a bunch of rock formations like this. There's actually toadstool hoodoos over there as well. So there's a lot of those in that area of the Southwest. And it's just, that's what it is AI is just making it look too perfect. And then people are actually posting it going, this is Mushroom Rock, Arizona. This is, go here and go visit it. And then when you go to show up, you'd be like, that's not what I saw at all. So I don't know. I mean, do you have any hints on how to tell?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, for me, honestly, it's the texture I look at, because I've created lots of AI images. So going through them, there are certain pixels that just don't look right. I mean, if you look at the landscape and then look at some of the details in the landscape tends to be too perfect. Flowers look like I mean, it's just way too perfect, and you can tell. But for someone who's never seen or worked on AI, I understand it's hard to figure out. It's one of those things that you need a little bit of experience to tell. But for me, it's like right there. As soon as I see it, it's like, okay, that's obviously AI.
Yeah, but that's where, like you said, I get it. Like, we've been trained. I mean, you've got thousands of hours that you've been looking at images, thousands of hours you've been making images, thousands of hours that you've been creating images with AI. And that's where your mind then just like picks it out right away. I could get where it becomes very confusing. This is why this topic is really hard in the landscape community.
Yeah, and also, even if you just go out and you practice landscape photography, don't even worry about AI. If you've been photographing landscapes for a long time and you've been editing those, the moment you see an AI shot, you just know that it's not a photograph.
Yeah,
because of
there's
the
something.
detail that you're used to.
Yeah, and I think you hit on the right word. It's too perfect. You'll be like, there has to be a certain level of imperfections, and we also understand erosion. Once we see erosion, you've seen so many eroded rocks that then seeing an eroded rock that has fins like a mushroom, exactly like a mushroom, you're like, it just, that I've never seen that in life. And then you look at the clouds behind it, and then you look at the mountains behind it, and you're going, there's too much fishy here to where it can't be real. And honestly, what I've seen is in the comments, it's that mixed bag like you're talking about. There are people that are in there, they're like, I'm going here, I'm booking a ticket. And then there's other people in the comments that are going, I've been there, that's not reality, that's fake, that's AI.
Exactly.
So a lot of times it is just, it's sad that we have to do that nowadays. But that's where, again, I think if you're doing it for the likes and the clicks, because I think that's why these people are posting this, they're doing it for likes, clicks, and shares. It's probably the wrong reason to be into landscape photography. I'm into it, and I know Rammy's into it more for the experience, the connection, the adventure, creating amazing art, capturing our world. If you're into it for that, then you don't have to worry, because you won't have to worry about AI, creating images for you. So, Dennis is asking, Rami, what's your favorite lens to use?
Ooh. Honestly, that has changed over the years. So as a landscape photographer, I can tell you one thing. You want to always cover anywhere from 14, at the very least, 14 millimeter to 400. You want to cover all that, because as a landscape photographer, you just never know. My two, different styles are super ultra wide. So anywhere from 12 to 16, I would say that's your ultra wide. And then anywhere from that up is your other shots. But my favorite lens would be probably something like a 40 to 24. But then recently I got a 24 to 200, and that has really changed the way I shoot, because now, unless I know I want to seriously do an ultra wide shot, that thing covers everything except if I wanted to get close, I could even do that, because shooting at 40, this is what people need to realize. Take advantage of those pixels, okay? If you have a 200 millimeter, if you have a 24 to 200, and you're shooting with a full frame 45 megapixel camera, you can turn that 200 millimeter into 400 millimeter easily.
Yeah.
So take advantage of those pixels, really, because it's amazing what you can do with these cameras. So take advantage of that. But honestly, the best lens for landscape photography would be just anywhere from 14 to 400. So I don't want to say that is my specific best lens. So
yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm the same too. I love the 14 to 35, and then pairing that with the 24 to 240. That's on the Canon side of the world, but I mean, they're all the same. At the end of the day, just having that ultra wide to that pretty telephoto lens, but like you're talking about, then we can still crop in past that. The reason we want that 14 or that ultra wide is you can't expand out without being fake. You can crop in, but you can't expand out without expanding your canvas. And then if you're expanding your canvas, you're doing something with AI, or you're doing something with Photoshop, or you're doing something fake. So that's where a wide angle. I mean, I've yet to experiment with, like Canon has now the 10 to 20 millimeter. That one sounds very interesting to me, because that sits in that 14 to almost 24. And I agree with you, like 14 to 24 is kind of like, that's your prime, like wide angle landscape lens. And then you've got that telephoto range where you're kind of like out into that, bringing the landscape up close to you, which is something that's underplayed. A lot of people just go ultra wide. That's great if you have some compositional element in your foreground that you want to make big, but a lot of times you want to create layers. And I know that's one of the things that when you get into the telephoto, you're trying to create those layers with like mountain ranges or valleys and ranges and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and telephoto is again like one of those lenses. When you get to super telephoto, like anywhere from like 200 to 400 range, you can start isolating the subjects very easily. You can start creating photos that you would not normally do. So, because if you look at a landscape that is not really great for photography in your local area, and you want to get creative, use a telephoto lens, because using a telephoto lens, you can get so creative. And then on the other side of things, with an ultra wide, like you're talking about a 10 to 20, those lenses can create, you put it on top of anything and they almost create that composition for you. It's almost like cheating. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing what those lenses can do.
It is. It's amazing. You can get like right up to you can get right up to these little ice crystals that are coming down and little water droplets that freeze, and you can get right up next to them and they look like they're giant, massive cliffs of ice. But they're really only about like 5 inches tall. And it's a really cool technique. Really cool.
Yeah, for sure. And it's very, very good for creativity. If you really want to get creative, definitely an ultra wide. That's basically all the two lenses you need. Ultra wide, and then make sure that your telephoto is covered as well.
Yeah. Very cool. So Cammy's asking a question. What are your favorite lens lengths? Oh, okay, we kind of just answered that. Lens lengths for landscape. So very similar question.
Yes.
So I think, again, we're just kind of recapping there. An ultra wide that's somewhere to that, again, 14 millimeters and then plus and minus from there. And then having something that's like that versatile lens. All the manufacturers make them where they do like that 24 to 200, 24 to 240. You can even, there's 100 to 400s. There's different things like that. But you just want something where you've got some reach, you got some flexibility, and then you can still crop as well. So.
Yeah, my only thing to add to that is if you're getting like a super zoom style lens, just make sure it's that 24 to 200, not 28, because 24 is still pretty wide, and you can use it. You can from 24 to 28, you're losing a lot.
Yes.
Okay, that's very important to remember. So,
agreed. It's amazing. Again, the on the high end, like going from 200 millimeters to 300 millimeters is not that much. That's something cropping can overcome real quick. But yeah, 28 to 24 is a big jump. And actually, 16 millimeters to 14 millimeters is a monumental jump. It sounds so small, but it's a monumental jump when you're talking those ultra wide angles.
Exactly.
Yep. All right. Well, we got to take our final break. When we come back, we've got prizes to give away. We got a couple questions. And then if we got any other questions come in over the break, we'll throw them in. And we'll see you back here in just a few minutes.
If you're like me, and I'm betting you are, you love Lightroom tips. I love them. I love those little things that make you faster and more efficient and more productive. I mean, that's why I run the website lightroomkillertips.com. Well, if you like this type of stuff, I got a brand new class where I've got 25 of my all-time favorite Lightroom tips. I got some brand new ones you've probably never seen before. I've got some ones that you remembered from years ago and you forgot about. I got some new twists. There's just so much stuff. We're gonna have a great time together. So come and check out my brand new class with 25 of my all-time favorite Lightroom tips, and it's exclusively here at KelbyOne.
Hey guys, Kirk Nelson here from the Pixel Pro Photography. I'm back down here at KelbyOne Studios, and I've got a great course lined up for you this time. We are talking about killer tips and tricks updated for 2025 in the beta version of Photoshop. We are going to dig into the newest features, the ones that work really, really well, and it's going to change the way you approach design. Ones that kind of work, are still in development, but are a lot of fun to kick the tires of. We're going to dig into the AI craziness that's been taking it over and talk about all the generative technology that's within the program now. We're going to have a ton of fun with these. You're going to learn a lot, and we're going to really explore areas of the program that you probably haven't seen before. Only at KelbyOne.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
All right, we're back, and we've got a few more minutes here. Answer your questions on landscape photography. We also are going to give away prizes, but just a reminder, if you want to come join Rami and I on a Badlands photo adventure, head over to either Rammy's site, rammyk.com, my site, erikkuna.com, or milkywayworkshops.com. And you can go right there and hit that learn more button, and you'll learn all about it. And you can sign up right there and join us. We just released that date just the other day, so you can go sign up.
The food's great.
Oh yes, the food is great. Yeah, that's why we love this location. It's not only the food's great, but then the location's great because we are so close to everything. Usually when we do a lot of these adventures, you have to stay so far away from where you're actually shooting that you spend so much time in a car or in a van, or and it just gets like very tiring traveling. And to be so close, butting up to the back of National Park is amazing. And on top of that, like you said, to have the food that's there is just it's some of the best breakfasts of my life. Some of the best dinners of my life happen right there. And there's a great taco shop in town. So, all right. So check that out if you want to. And then down at the bottom of the site, if you want to just be notified whenever we have new workshops that pop up, just go. You can join the newsletter if you want to get notifications when new stuff pops up. All right. So John Dukes, KelbyOne instructor, has a question. And he has a question for you, Rami. And he's asking, I've seen all your courses over on KelbyOne, and I love how you use luminosity masking. I would be interested to know how you decide which tonal ranges to target. Is that more a technical decision or an artistic one?
It comes down to you got to pay attention to where you want to adjust. So for luminosity masking, you're using luminosity masking either to target some colors, to add maybe some colors, to change some colors, or whatever it may be. You got to make sure you got to just look at your image and have an understanding of what it is that you're trying to target, what it is that you're trying to change. That is going to dictate which range you're going to choose. So that's basically the simplest answer I can give you.
Yes. But I think that kind of like what John's saying, there's a technical aspect to that decision, right, and there's a creative aspect to that decision, which probably goes for most things in photography, that there's always, that's where it's a hard, I hate giving the answer of it depends or all that stuff, but there is a level of, are you trying to fix a technical issue? Are you trying to enhance like a technical issue? There's not enough detail in the shadows, or there's not enough detail in the highlights, or you're trying to do something. Or am I going, artistically, I want this to look more blown out, or artistically, I want this to be, again, dodging and burning. So there's both sides of that world, I guess, that come into these decisions.
There is.
Yeah.
Yes, there's definitely both sides of that role. So it just depends on what you're
And,
doing with the image.
and honestly, I have to give credit. I mean, I've known this guy for a long time. That's what I learned a lot of that from you. You know, is just watching you, watching how you do the editing, watching how you make those decisions, and a lot of it, I think, does what I just said. I mean, it's usually I see you dealing with either a technical issue that you're trying to then correct, or an artistic issue or it's an artistic enhancement of the photo where you're using things like luminosity and masking to basically enhance the photo. So
Exactly.
I know that's not the best answer, John, but it is the answer of what, like, my life experience with Rami. All right. Dan's asking, so is a 15-35 Canon on a full frame not sufficient for landscape photography? No, I'm not saying that at all. In fact, I love the 15-35. I have it because it's a 2.8 and I do a lot of night photography. However, I will say that I prefer for landscape and not night the 14-35, just because that extra 14 millimeter is nice. Can you produce great stuff with a 15? Absolutely, totally,
Absolutely,
100%. Like I said, I'm very interested in this 10-20 now, because the 10-20 has not that fisheye distortion. It's like a square, rectilinear, so it's like normal looking frame. That's very interesting to me, because at those lengths, like, I could go to 12. I could see myself shooting at 12 a lot with very small foreground elements. So I'll be definitely experimenting with that 10-20 this summer sometime.
Especially when your image doesn't have some sort of mountain or very important subject in the center.
Yes.
Because once you have that, it's just going to squeeze that. But in a lot of the landscapes that you're not really shooting something so important that you know, you don't care to squish the center, man, you can be so creative with a 10-20. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it should be. So to answer your question, Dan, no, absolutely. You can produce amazing stuff. 15 millimeters is a good ultra wide angle like length. It's a very good one. I find 15 is way better than 16. Like 16-35, I always wanted that little bit of extra. But again, sometimes I'm like, ooh, the 14's so nice.
Yeah.
All right. Eddie's asking, what would be your opinion of the Sigma 18-250 DC Macro OS HSM before I buy one? 18-250.
That would be a crop sensor lens, wouldn't it? DC wouldn't. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I think that might be. I think so. Let's look at it. Which again, I mean, that would mean 18.
Because that sort of range sounds like a crop sensor lens to me. I don't know if I'm mistaken, but
I think it is a crop sensor, but let me check. It looks like it's for the Sony. So it's Sony, and it is an APS-C format. So that means that really it's equivalent of a 27-375.
Yeah.
So that's what Rami was talking about before. Of the only thing I'd have a problem with that lens is it doesn't get out to like 24. It's like you're starting at 27. So like you're going to find a lot of times that 27 just isn't wide enough when you're using that as like a one lens to kind of do both. That's my only concern there. What do you think?
Yeah, so I mean that lens, if you use a crop sensor and you have that lens or you want to get that lens, it is definitely a good lens to get because you're going to cover a lot of the range. But I would also on top of that recommend you go and look at something that covers that ultra wide end. So in your case, it'll be somewhere anywhere from 10 to 28 or something like that, 10-24 or something like that at least.
Yeah.
Then that would give you some roughly around 14 or whatever.
Yeah, so you'd need like a 10 to 20 something on the crop sensor plus that lens. Now you'd have like both lenses to kind of do again your ultra wide angle and do your more telephoto work. I think that's the point there is you're not going to get by with an 18-250 as being your one landscape lens because you're never going to get wide enough.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. That's the only thing. Yeah.
yeah, so I think that's a great tip. Great tip there is like there, because that's the hard part with landscape photography. There is not one lens to rule them all, because of the
No.
ultra wide angle. They don't make something that's going to be ultra wide angle to 200 millimeters. They like it's usually like 24 to 200, like we're talking about. It's usually in that range where that's kind of like once. But then that's what's cool is you can cover that again. 14 to 35 or 10 to 20, something like that, and then get the other one on top of it. It's just you're not going to have that like one lens to rule them all. All right.
Sure.
Paul is asking a question for Rami. Any tips on shooting in inclement weather that would help raise capturing images? That would help raise capturing images. Any tips on shooting in inclement weather? Well, I can tell you this, that Rami and we love to shoot in inclement weather. Best images usually happen with inclement weather. We've experienced that many times. Of course, there's also been some of the worst images in inclement weather because then you can't see anything, but there's a fine line there. So any tips that you would have in shooting in inclement weather?
I mean, what type of inclement weather are we talking about exactly here? Because my only thing is you have to understand lighting. Okay.
Yep.
So whether it doesn't really matter once you understand that light is so important, and once you understand that how much lighting affects your composition overall, then you'll know what to look for. You can have the most amazing images happening in the most horrible weather or even completely overcast. It just depends. All you need is just that second for the sun to show up. And in fact, you could have some of the best shots during the day, in the middle of the day, just because you have shadow everywhere. And then all of a sudden now it opens up and you get that little bit of sunlight in that area, and boom, you can go from a mediocre shot to an absolutely amazing shot. So I love bad weather. I love good weather. I'm always out there. My best recommendation for that is don't even worry about it. Just make sure you're covered, you're dressed appropriately, and just go for it. Go for it.
I mean, that's the best tip I could give is making sure that you are something where you're not going to be uncomfortable, because if you're uncomfortable shooting, you won't stay out and shoot, and then you'll miss the awesome thing that's going to happen. Like, like we had those rays, the anti-crucipular, what do they call it? They're like reverse.
Yeah, anti-crucipular clouds.
Yeah, like you could get those, but if you're not out there because you're like, oh, but the rain just came through and I'm all wet. But it's like, that's what you want to be. You want to be out there when those rays happen, and it's like, it looks like the world's backwards, and you're like, that's so odd. And then the other thing is just maybe also making sure if you're going to be out in inclement weather that your gear can hold up in inclement weather. I mean, that's the reason why a lot of times you buy the more professional level cameras. It's not so much that they're going to make better images. They're going to allow you to shoot in worse weather or worse environments. They're weather sealed. They have things where I don't worry about, oh, my camera's getting a little wet. It's like, it's fine. It's weather sealed. Like, it's dry it off when I'm done. It'll be fine. Yeah. It's dusty. I'll clean it off when I'm done. It's part of the game, So, but if you don't have a camera that's weather sealed, that's where you're going to need some kind of protection. You're going to need some kind of weather seal, just like weather resistant bag or plastic bag or something that's going to protect that camera. That's going to keep you out shooting, because again, some of the best shots can happen, like Rami was talking about. Some of the best shots happen when you think like there's like everybody else is packed up, they all left, and then magically this light just busts through the clouds, and it was overcast just 5 minutes ago, but this light busts through, it's hitting that one tree in the landscape, and it's lighting up the environment, and it's just like, that's the magic. So the magic of
it happens more than you think. It happens more than you think.
It does. That's what I've learned over the years is wait it out, be patient. The likelihood that you're going to get something amazing. Now, that something amazing might only happen for like 30 seconds. So you have to be ready and anticipating it. But that's something amazing can happen for like 30 seconds, and it can look amazing. All right. Allison saying, hi, Eric. I see your night photography book is out on Rocky Nook for download. Yeah, and looking forward to it. I just have to wait until the end of August for the hard copy. Yes, unfortunately, like Scott talks about, getting books printed and the speed at which books get printed is about as slow as it can be. And then once they get on a boat, and it takes forever for them to actually get over to the shops. So be patient, it'll get there. So cool. Well, we got some prizes to give away. So we've got the Platypod grip. That's going to Margaret Mesa Cortez. And then the composition book, the Crush a Composition book, Scott's book is going to Dan Drays. And then Carolyn Novak is winning the V flat. And then Dave Young is winning the On One No Noise. Christy Neardwolf Courtviz is winning the Lightroom Classic book. So all you got to do if you won is just email us over at gridprize@kelbyone.com. We'll verify information and send you out your prize. Just try to do that by this Friday, please. So Rami, thanks for coming on the show. I think this was very fun. It's always fun to talk landscape photography. It's one of my favorite things. It's definitely one of my favorite things. Love being out in nature. I love exploring it. I love our time together that we get to go out and kind of just have fun in nature, reconnecting. So always a blast. Where can people find out more about you? They want to, obviously over at your website.
Yes, my website, rammyk.com, RAMMYK.com. I also got a trip coming up that I just have finally, again, one last spot that's open. I'm actually landing in Salt Lake City, going down to, we got...
Oh, Badlands.
Moab.
I love the Badlands of Utah, too.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. We were going to the Moab and that Hanksville area. 3 nights each. It's going to be an amazing trip. It's literally just 3 guys that I'm taking, 3 people that I'm taking with me. So it is going to be a fantastic trip. Just let me know if you want. I'll even give you a couple $100 discount from if you're watching the grid right now. Other than that, everything else is listed there. I'm so excited about this Badlands one that's coming up with you, Eric. Because last year I had a blast there. So just head over to my website and just let me know. I'll take care of you.
Very cool. All right. And then obviously also your KelbyOne classes. And then make sure you join us over there at the Lightroom Photography Conference coming up next month. So we've got that coming up. Yep. Go over to KelbyOneLive.com and you can sign up for that over on KelbyOne Live. And I hope to see you. So, well, that brings us to the conclusion of the show. We're just a little over. The network won't be too mad. And we'll be back next week. Scott will be back next week. And we'll see you here on the grid in about 7 days. See you guys.